Welcome, Claudio, again. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, great. So, Claudio, now today we want to ask you, what do you see about trends in hotel distribution?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I want to talk to you about the next 20 minutes. But basically, my idea was to show you a bit, or show everyone a bit, how we, from a data point of view, has experienced the last almost more than 12 months in terms of distribution, and see what kind of trends we can take out of this. And in the last kind of session, or last kind of couple words, also what are possibilities to do on this.
Yeah, great. So, did you share a presentation for us?
Yes, I would love to. I just don't have the rights.
I asked it, so my colleague should allow you to do it. So,
thank you.
You should be okay to share it now.
That's very good. Yes, that works.
So screen is yours, Claudio.
Very good. Can you just confirm that you actually see my screen?
Yes, it's
perfect. Yeah, good. So where I wanted to start is just, so my name is Claudio, and I'm the CEO of Heal Planet, and we are a distribution or a channel management company. So we are inherently looking at a lot of data that is flowing through our system. And where I wanted to start off is just on that one chart that is really showing the start of the pandemic, right about here, up until to the point where we are now. What this graph is showing is the number of reservations that we have in our channel manager from all the online channels, and we also see at the bottom the very dramatic picture that we have at the beginning of the pandemic, where all the cancellations came in. So every figure that is negative here means there were more cancellations than there were reservations, and the top graph shows how many reservations were actually in that system. But a bit more interesting, and I know this is a bit daunting to see sometimes, or to read the chart, is how does this look if we are really looking at both axes. One is when was something booked and for what week it was booked. We call this a heat map for reservations, and we can actually see a couple of very nice things in here. So starting off, it's just that when we're looking at the first couple lines here, this is how the world looked like before the pandemic. Those were reservations made in week 5, 6, and 7 of 2020 for the future. So this is how this should look like. You have a lot of last-minute reservations in the week for the week, and they go out nicely into the future. The next thing that we really see is that this first lockdown that basically canceled all reservations. And there was nothing short-term, nothing long-term, just no reservations for everyone. But what we also see here is the summer season of 2020, where all of a sudden, because it really became sudden, that people started to reserve again, but they only reserved until the end of summer. There was almost no reservations made in the months right after the lockdown, which is May, June timeframe, further out than September, what it would normally be. Normally, we would have booking windows that go further on that, but not for summer 2020. And this kind of picture continues. The silver lining is here that we also do have a number of bookings already in our reservation system or in the channel manager that are for the summer of 2020. Here again, there's a very clear line that people started to book summer vacations in January. They didn't start to book them in December. They started really just in January to book them, so that we have some reservations. They're not enough, we all know that, but there are some of them. The other thing that I wanted to say, and this goes then back also to the trends, is this looks very different from location to location. So for example, in Spain, the lockdown was very severe and nothing was allowed. So there were absolutely 0 reservations in this first lockdown. The summer, however, when everything opened up again, was decent. And interesting also, I don't know if you've heard these news that over the Semana Santa, or over the Easter period, some of Spanish destinations were open for travel. So we see a clear peak here that just floats around this 2 weeks of Easter holidays. And as I said before, there are bookings already in the system for the summer season, which is between week 25 and week 35 in this summer in 2021. If we compare this to a hotel in Poland, what I want to highlight here is that in Poland there was a very strict lockdown for hotels right at the end of the year, going into the first couple of weeks of this year. And we see that there are almost no reservations made for this period. But right when that was lifted, there was a peak. There was a peak of short-term local travel that we see nicely in here. That brings me to one of the other trends. So, and the last thing that I want to show you on the data is the mix of the channels. This is the data for Spain since the beginning, or since week 5 of 2020, of how are reservations coming in through the different types of online channels. The blue line on top here is the online distribution, the online travel agencies, Booking.com, Expedia, and all the others. The orange line are direct bookings, over the booking engines. And then we have wholesalers, tour operators, and GDSs. And the thing that we can see here is probably the thing that changed the least, which is that there are no big shifts in this. Before the pandemic, it was like this, and during the pandemic, and even now, the OTAs are still dominating the online bookings. Between 60 and 80%, almost all at all given time, are made through OTAs. There was no big change in the direct bookings, which, at least to me, was actually surprising. I thought somewhere back in summer of 2020 that there will be a direct booking revolution, that everyone wants to go on wants to book something more special. They want to book something that is local, and they will have a lot of questions and concerns about maybe the safety and the exact amenities that this hotel or vacation rental is offering, which would all lead for them to go on a direct booking channel, such as the website of the hotel. But there wasn't a big shift in it. That doesn't mean that some hotels have done a great job of promoting their direct booking, but all in all, we haven't seen that major revolution that really lifted the direct bookings out of the 20%, roughly 20% of the reservations that are coming through that channel. So what are the things that we at Yield Planet really see is that, and I wanted to put that on the example of Poland, that the demand is there. It's much more the restrictions that are hindering that travel is happening. And as we said, in the Semana Santa example from Spain, we can see that as soon as people can travel, they do. We see that in Poland. As soon as hotels are open, people book them. So it's unfortunately a bit beyond our control at the moment, but the trend that we see for right now, and probably for unfortunately a bit of more months to come, is that it's a lot about restrictions. It's a lot about the fact, can people travel safely and without any hindering factors, such as tests or even quarantine measures that prohibit them from it. Because if they don't, we see that the underlying demand for travel is still there. And Gianluca also said that before, that there is no such thing as traveling just went away. People are not allowed to. And I think that's a big thing to note, that this will come back. And that brings me to the second part. It probably doesn't come back, the second trend. It's that it will not come back all at once, and it will maybe not come back exactly the same as we've had it before. We've seen this in many countries, that domestic travel, or at least close to travel, will be recovering faster. And also the leisure segment will recover faster than maybe the business or the MICE travel. So if you're in this kind of destinations that are really catered for these types of traveling, that is great news. The third trend that we see right now, and probably also for the future still, is that OTAs are still dominating the online distribution. That has has a couple of implications, but also I think there is still a big case to make for make more direct bookings and work with your direct booking strategy to really work on this and have a better number of direct bookings, a better share of the market that comes through direct bookings. And the last trend that we see is that booking patterns are shifting. That means that since people cannot go where they would normally go, since people cannot book when they would normally book through their normal channels, they're doing other things. Gianluca mentioned before, the hotels in Italy are full of Italians. Maybe those are people that normally would go on a holiday somewhere far away, but this time they are going to stay home as they did last summer, or home in their home country. And as much as that is a challenge for many destinations, it is also an opportunity to really get a new segment of travelers, or just new travelers into your hotel, new segments of travelers into your destinations, in order to keep them. Maybe they come this year because that was the only thing that was open for them, but next time maybe they come because they really liked it. So there's certainly something positive to take out of this trend, that right now is probably the best time to have people trying out something new, if it is what they can actually do and what they can travel to. So in some, hotels might be closed, but that doesn't mean you can stop selling, because as soon as the restrictions are over, people will flock to the booking engines, or will flock to the OTAs and actually start booking. So you need to be prepared. You need to have channels open. You need to have prices there. You need to have availability there. Everything needs to be ready for when that happens. And we've now seen a couple of examples that are really short term. So the government makes a decision to open up, and bookings come in. So that is something for many hotels. And again, it's different from destination to destination, obviously. But for many destinations, that is very important to be ready when that shift actually happens at the end. And we all hope that it will be very, very soon. So what could you do based on these more abstract maybe trends? That one of the things is to diversify on the channels, and I'm saying that as a channel manager, to connect to as many different channels as you possibly can, because you don't know exactly where the demand is coming from. Particularly connect to those channels that are good for your local markets, that are good for niche markets as well. Maybe if you're in a leisure destination, connect to more direct or more OTAs, because that's where the demand will come from first. If you are not, connect to more tour operators, more wholesalers, in order to make sure that you're bookable through these channels as well. And also diversify your offer as much as you can to be attractive for multiple segments. Right now, in many European countries, the elderly or retirees are vaccinated first. That's a very attractive travel segment to cater to. Is your destination and is your hotel ready for them? And particularly, are you addressing them in the right way, so that they will make a booking, because they can hopefully will get this vaccination passport. They can travel quite fast. The second one is long booking windows. Now, I do understand it might not generate the revenue that will make you survive in the future, but we believe it's quite important to actually have long booking windows open at the moment, because it gives you much better data points on what is working and what is not working, both on channels, on offers, on prices. There's no better forecast, or there's no better indication of the demand you have than the actual demand you get through bookings, even if those are just a few. That is certainly something that is a very great insight. And there's also bringing me to the last point, which is that the pickup is, we call this the pickup is the new forecast. So forecasting hotel demand currently is very challenging, both for revenue managers as a human, but also for any algorithms. But the actual pickup, somebody making a reservation for your hotel, that is something that is very real, and you can really analyze this in much better ways. I'll just show you the one screenshot from a pickup overview that we've just released at the beginning of the pandemic, where we show the whole rest of the year and how many net reservations for each day of the month net pickup is coming in, so that you see what is there something going on? Is there a window of opportunity in a certain from a certain source market for a certain amount of dates that you can do something with?
Yeah, great. Yeah, please, again, Gianluca, I have a question for you, and we have 2 minutes left. If you can spare 1 minute for me, that would be great.
Yeah, no, actually, that's what I wanted to end up with in terms of the trends for distribution, and particularly also what hotels can take out of this: diversification, long booking windows, and really looking at the data you have, and particularly the pickup.
Yeah, perfect, Claudio. Really, those are great suggestions and very beneficial suggestions. I like the one that even though hotels are closed, sales never stop. That's right. I mean, because sometimes people mix it up very much. When they close their hotel, they think that sales are stopped, but sales may occur anytime. As far as I understand from this event, people around the world really want to travel, but there are restrictions from the governments. As soon as those restrictions are lifted up, people start to travel. So, Claudio, what's your personal opinion about travel? When do you think this corona will go away and things start to go back normal? I'm just asking this. Because 1 year later, I want to watch it and see who really know it.
Who was right? So I don't like. Unfortunately, I don't think Corona will just go away from one day to the other. I think we will more learn how to live with this, and I think there will be traveling, and there will be hotels working almost as normal when Corona is still around. So if you're looking at how Israel is dealing at the moment, there is normal life going on. Corona is still going on in the world, and that I think we will see that for the foreseeable futures, we will have a future that is very unevenly distributed. There will be some destinations that where Corona is not a topic anymore in terms of travel and restrictions, and unfortunately in other areas it will remain longer. I do believe that in the business and in the MICE world, these changes are more long-lived. On the other hand, in the leisure segment, I think we will see a new normal that has great opportunities, where in the tourism sector, in the hospitality, we can do a lot of great business that will come sooner than what we think. Last summer, it went very quick from lockdown to being able to do something. And I think this year it will hopefully look the same.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Claudio. It was a great presentation. Thank you. And once again, thank you very much for being part of our event. Thank you again, Claudio.
Thank you, Aaron, for having me. It's always a pleasure. And take care. Good chance with the rest of the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hotel Linkage.